Hey there, Jimmy the K, and it's about that time to start. This is the Jimmy the K Sports Show, and I'm so glad that you spent another week enjoying the show and coming back and letting your friends know about it. I'm your host, Jimmy the K, and each and every week at Saturday nights, 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we go over some of the sports news for the week, and this week's no different. Matter of fact, we got some pretty good things that we're going to go over. We're going to look at a little bit at the Rangers' new stadium deal. We're going to look at a Super Bowl recap. Also, Nolan Ryan is mulling a job with the Houston Astros. Is that a positive or a negative thing for the Texas Rangers? My thoughts on the Olympics, a few things here and there. And then we're going to take a look at the AL West free agent grades that I've given teams. So that, and I'm going to go off on a little rant with the Olympics towards the end of the show. I won't get into that now. But we want to take a look at the Rangers' new stadium deal. Whether we like it or not, for the next 10 years, what I've always known as the Rangers ballpark in Arlington is going to be known as Globe Life Park. What do I know about Global Life and insurance or whatever? I do know that their principal, their main office supposedly is in Oklahoma City somewhere, with the principal office being in McKinney, Texas. That's all I know. And, I've got a few thoughts on this. One, from a business standpoint, this is a huge deal. For the next 10 years, it allows the Texas Rangers to have money to spend on free agents, albeit maybe not the top ones, but a little bit more money. Next year they get a TV deal kicking in for the next few years. Then on top of that, they have the new stadium name deal, which will actually help this team out a lot when it comes to, that's a lot of money over the next 10 years that the Rangers have to spend now. But, is that a good or bad thing? Well, I'll tell you something. I actually looked something up today, and it was pretty funny. Only three of the top spending teams last year in the off season made it to the playoffs. That was Oakland, uh, the Dodgers, and I believe Boston were the three teams. The other big spenders, didn't make it that far in the playoffs or didn't make the playoffs at all. So that's a pretty scary statistic there for you. Uh, what other thoughts do I have on this? From a fan standpoint, this deal is nothing to us. Yes, it gives them more money to spend and entice those bigger name free agents. But from a fan standpoint, does it mean that we're going to stop calling it the ballpark in Arlington? No. And the media, all in all, is going to tell you from a media standpoint, it will help them have a name to call it, uh, which in most cases you could say, you know, yeah, Globe Life Park just sounds like a big lollipop in my opinion. That's just, I mean, I'm playing at Globe Life Park. Sounds like a donut shop. But from a media standpoint, they're going to try telling you, the fans, what you can and cannot call it. But as fans, we're going to know it as the ballpark in Arlington. Even when it was Ameriquest Field, we knew it as the ballpark in Arlington. Um, you know, it gives them more money to spend, like I said. And, this team is doing so much stuff to upgrade the uh, the ballpark to make it a huge fan experience, the greatest ballpark experience, in the world, so to speak. Trying to compete with teams like the Yankees and Boston, that have a great experience when you go in there. But what more can you do to improve this club? That's the question I have for you. Is there something that you do to help improve this club? The only thing I can think of that you're going to spend millions and millions of dollars doing is putting a retractable roof on the place. And, putting a retractable roof on the ballpark in Arlington would not be the smartest thing in the world, because to tell you the truth, it would take longer than what the off season is, and it would be a waste of time. It would be a waste of money. It would be a waste of space and a waste of resources. So, all in all, yeah, it has a new name for the next 10 years, and they're going to have money to spend, and we, the fans, are going to be happy when they sign big name players. Who isn't? Who isn't happy when their team signs a big time free agent? But, from a fan standpoint, it's not going to do anything. We're still going to call it the ballpark in Arlington, or Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. It's not going to be Globe Life Park. When you call up your friends, are you going to be like, "Hey, Joe, you want to go to Globe Life Park with me?" No, it'll never be Globe Life Park. It'll always be the ballpark in Arlington. "Hey, Joe, you want to go to the ballpark in Arlington or ballpark with me?" At no point does a person call you up and actually use the name. It's all a money grabber, so to speak. So, all in all, from a fan standpoint, no, it's not going to do anything. From a business standpoint, it does a lot. It's huge for this club. It's huge. But all in all, we're still going to call it the ballpark in Arlington, whether or not they like it or not. The media is going to try, telling us what it is and telling us that it's Globe Life Park, and we're going to laugh them in the face and be like, "Nope, ballpark in Arlington. That's what I've always known it as, and that's what it will always be known as." So, with that being said, those are my thoughts on the deal. It's huge. It's huge, but from a fan standpoint, it's still the ballpark. I'm going to actually, the next thing that I had in line, I'm actually going to save for last, because I'm going to go on a little tangent for that last part. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with the tangent. We'll look at the Super Bowl recap. There's not much to say about this here, as the Denver Broncos just didn't show up to play the football game. I mean, it's almost like they were still at the hotel. They were crushed 43-8 by the Seattle Seahawks. The defense for the Seahawks was superb against Denver, while Denver's defense just didn't even look to show up. Like I said, it looked to me as if they were still in the hotel room, trying to get a date with the maid. So much stuff. Peyton Manning, the look on his face, you could tell he was perturbed at the fact that Denver didn't quite show up. He knew what was happening. The same went for the offenses. Peyton Manning had several miscues that just shouldn't have happened. The first play of the game was a safety, for crying out loud. He was underneath the center's hiney, and somehow the ball went up over his head. Stuff like that, you're never going to win championships with. So, all in all, you have to congratulate the Seattle Seahawks. And Rule 5 pick for the Texas Rangers, Russell Wilson. He's the quarterback over there for the Seahawks. All in all, though, I have to say the best story that I've heard out of this whole thing is how much of a class act Peyton Manning was, even after being beat. Peyton Manning was so classy. This is actually a true story. This was actually, I believe, Yahoo reported it, MSN reported it. A lot of your sports places, ESPN, Your City, reported it. It was pretty classy stuff. Peyton Manning was actually going through the tunnel after the game, and a Coke vendor or some vendor of some sort asked him for his autograph, and he turned around and just kind of half smiled at him. And, with the Peyton Manning drawl, just told him, "Not this minute, But when I come back through, I will. That's still a class act for somebody that just got crushed 43-8. That's somebody that, in my opinion, deserves every award that he's won plus more. You know, the Manning family has always been that way. The Manning family has been a class act. Well, I'm not a huge Eli fan. His brother's the same way. And, you know, all in all, that was just the suckiest Super Bowl that I've seen in a long time. The worst Super Bowl, other than that I recall, was the Cowboys are beating the Bills 52-17 back in the 90s. So, it wasn't much of a Super Bowl. If you're a Seahawks fan, you like to see it. If you're a Broncos fan, you didn't like to see it. And if you were a sports fan or a betting person, you definitely didn't want to see that. All in all, you got to give your hats off to Pete Carroll and that group over there, though. So congratulations to the Seahawks. Congratulations to Russell Wilson and that group over there. Now to some big news in baseball world. This is going to have y'all Houston fans happy as all get out because Jim Crane, the owner of the Houston Astros, has met with Nolan Ryan. Ryan is actually mulling the job with the Astros. His son, as most of you Astro fans know, and if you are not an Astros fan but know the Ryan family, they're a very tight-knit family. Reed, his son, is actually the president of the club, the Houston Astros. So, what are my thoughts on this? One word, to be quite honest with you, and then I'll go into a little tangent, so to speak. Wow. Wow. To the Ranger fans, we knew this was coming. When we knew for a fact that he was forced out by then Rangers GM general manager John Daniels. I'm not here to knock John Daniels. I think as a general manager, he has done some brilliant things to help the Texas Rangers. But what I'm not happy with, and I don't know if it came from ownership or if it was done by John Daniels stepping on Nolan Ryan's toes, but taking over and doing what he did to Nolan Ryan or the ownership did, like I said, I don't know who did it, is ridiculous. And we as Ranger fans knew this was coming. Granted, it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened. So is it one of those deals where we're going to say, he's going to the Astros are going to win. Woohoo! No, it's not one of those deals just yet. He's still mulling the idea. He likes his retirement. He's got his ranch down there in Alvin. He likes doing that kind of stuff. He likes hanging out with the grandkids. But at 63, if I'm not mistaken, years old, he's kind of in that age right now where he's kind of like, well, if I take the job, I take the job. If not, I kind of want to be higher up. I want to have a say in what's going on. Everyone knows when you love the game of baseball the way Nolan Ryan does, you won't sit back and watch very long. It's just one of those deals. It's in your blood. No matter how much you've played baseball in your life, if it's in your blood, it's in your blood. Whether you've stopped playing it or, you've continued to play it a little bit here and there, it's always in your blood. You may have stopped playing in high school, but you still got that inkling. You still want to go out and hit the ball with your friends or whatever. That's, how you can tell it's in your blood. And with Nolan Ryan, you can tell, he's just not somebody that's going to sit back and watch very long. Do I think this would be good for the Houston Astros? Do I think so? Absolutely. I think this would be probably the biggest news in the state of Texas. Honestly, when the Rangers made the big deal for, the naming rights to the ballpark with Globe Life Park. I honestly felt like within the next 24 to 48 hours, Nolan Ryan would come out and say, hey, I'm taking the job with the Astros, and making that, therefore, the biggest news in the state of Texas. Honestly, I think he's just holding back. I think maybe he'll wait. It's possible he'll wait through spring training. And then from there, say, hey, I want the job. It's one of those deals. I want the job with the Astros. Give it to me. This type of a deal for Ryan would be huge for the Astros, and the fact that I think it would do for them what it did for the Rangers 6-odd years ago. The Astros, with Ryan's help calling the shots, would immediately, in my opinion, within 2 years, start to become a powerhouse in the American League West. Ryan practices pitching. Practices preaching. That's smart. Practices pitching. Preaches the fact that pitching and defense wins championships. It does. It very well does. And when the Rangers went to the World Series in 2010 and 2011, they had an awesome pitching staff that just got outpitched. And in 2010, when they were that close to winning it, they basically got outplayed by Nelson Cruz's hammy. So, that would be something that he brought to the table, is going out there, helping evaluate the young pitchers, helping them become better players, better pitchers, better all around. So, they would win. With that being said, next I want to take a look at some of the American League West free agent grades. I went ahead and gave some grades to all 5 teams of the American League West. And, feel free to email me, disagree with me. Feel free to give your own grades and tell me why you gave me those grades. I would put your grades on the show and definitely debate with you or say why I agree or disagree with those grades. So right now, let's take a look at those. I'm going to start off with the Anaheim Angels. The Anaheim Angels free agent grade I gave was an F. Yeah, you heard right. F as in flop. Spending it all in last year's free agency pool, you haven't heard too much other than the acquisition of David Freese in the offseason. This is a common trap for a lot of teams that spend a lot in free agency one year, and then the next year don't do a whole lot. This is a common trap, with the exception of the New York Yankees. They always have money to spend no matter what. So, last year I'd give this team a B- when it came to the free agent grades. This year I'm giving them an F. And honestly, I'm picking them 4th in the AL West, next to last. I don't see them. I see them being a good offensive club, but Pujols is old in age, more of a DH, not a first baseman. Hamilton, with a good season, would be good, and maybe this team would be 3rd or 2nd, but honestly, I don't see this team finishing better than 4th in the AL West. The Houston Astros are the next team I want to take a look at, and I give them an off-season free agent grade of a B. B. As in, boy, oh boy, I didn't think they'd do it. They actually went out and got some players that they liked. They traded some of their minor league players and got some decent players. I feel very confident that this team will be a lot better than what they were last year. And, if they remain healthy, this team, in my opinion, will not even be in the top 5 worst teams in the major leagues, guaranteed. Speed on the base pass, good team batting average, decent starting pitching. Believe you me, I know you Astro fans are going to faint when I say this. I'm picking them third in the AL West. Next up is the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners. Now, fresh off the Super Bowl win, Seattle's going, yes, we signed Robinson Cano. We inked Fernando Rodney, and talk is, as of right now, they are very close. They are within hours of signing former Texas Ranger Nelson Cruz. They're going, yeah, we just had a Super Bowl. We're going to get a World Series next year. Honestly, guys, you're not going to like me when I tell you I'm giving them a D in the free agent grade for the Seattle Mariners. A D as in, doggone it, I thought we were better than that. They went out, like I said, signing Robinson Cano and Fernando Rodney, and like I said, within hours possibly of saying that they're signing Nelson Cruz to a multi-year deal. They're shelling out a lot of money for a win-now attitude that won't work in the long run. Injuries will plague them again this year, and more poor playing will have them sitting as dead ducks at the bottom of the AL West. And guess what, guys? I'm picking you last in the AL West this year. I'm picking you 5th. So, my grades or my places as of right now. 5. I have the Seattle Mariners. 4, the Anaheim Angels. 3, the Houston Astros. Now, take a look at the Oakland Athletics next. I'm giving them an off-season free agent grade of an A. A as in absolutely, Billy Beane is probably the best GM that they've made a movie about using Brad Pitt. While not a lot has been done in the free agency side of things this year, Billy Beane has been as his old self. Trading players, even within the division. A lot of teams don't like trading within the division because they're afraid of what that may or may not do for the team. They traded Michael Choice and a player to the Texas Rangers for Craig Gentry and Matt Lindstrom from the Rangers. While Beane isn't quite going all out in free agency, like most, his grade is the best for the sheer fact he has led the team to 2 straight AL West titles, mainly by crafting together good deals like this one in the offseason. With this being said, I do feel like this team will win the West again. I'm picking them first in the AL West. Sorry, Ranger fans. I know I'm a Ranger fan, and you're probably going, why aren't you picking the Rangers? But I've got to look, through my rose-colored glasses, and honestly, I don't see Texas beating them in the West. Lastly, I picked the Texas Rangers. And the Texas Rangers free agent grade was an A-. An A-. The A- being for the sheer fact that while they were active in the market, trading Ian Kinsler for Prince Fielder, which I think in the long run is going to be a good deal. A lot of people have asked me the question of what I feel Prince Fielder will do for this team. Defensively, he's not a very great defensive first baseman. But, is he a decent one? He's good enough for me as a fan. His number-wise, his home run and RBI-wise numbers, I feel will actually go up. I feel like within the next 3 years, he's definitely going to be a 40-plus home run person with 120 plus RBIs for Texas. So, I feel like that's a good deal. Adding Shin Soo Choo for years to come, was an okay deal in my opinion. And signing JP Arancibia, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. What I want to know is, does this mean Kimberly Perry sightings at the ballpark? If you have lived under a rock or not a country music fan, you know that Kimberly Perry of the country group, the band Perry, is engaged, excuse me, to JP Arancibia. So if we're lucky as Ranger fans, we'll be seeing Kimberly Perry and her family around the ballpark some. We only wish, right? So while I feel these are good enough deals for the Rangers, I still haven't found a pitcher to step in for Holland. Although rumor has it, as of yesterday, February 7th, that the Rangers have and are in talks with Tommy Hanson of the Anaheim Angels. He played for the Anaheim Angels last year. His best seasons were with Atlanta, 3 or 4 years ago. But, even if they sign him, I'm still giving them a B- because, or an A-, an A- because I just don't think, Hanson healthy is a good fit. Don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, I don't feel like Hanson is going to stay healthy for them. Young pitchers have to step up this year and shine, and I feel that they will. I really do feel like they will. So with that being said, Texas finishes second in the AL West, gets another wild card and wins, but ultimately loses to the Tigers in the ALCS. Yes, I feel like Texas is going to win, actually get another wild card this year and actually win it, finally. But I also see them going to the ALCS and losing to Detroit. So my AL for free agent grades. Now, this is how they stack up in the AL West for this year, in my opinion. First, winning the Oakland Athletics. Second place, the Texas Rangers. Third place, the Houston Astros. Fourth, the Anaheim Angels. And fifth and last place, the Seattle Mariners. So with that being said, I definitely want your opinions. I want you to send me your thoughts and your disagreements. You have simple ways of doing that. You can like our Facebook page, All About Sports Zone. That's not all one word, but All About Sports Zone Facebook page. If you go to my Facebook page, if you're a friend of mine and go to my Facebook page, you'll actually see that there is a link to the left for All About Sports Zone. You can go there and like it and ask your questions there. Or if you're a friend of mine, just ask them through messaging me on Facebook. Or you can email us at allaboutsportszone, that's all one word, allaboutsportszone@gmail.com, and we'll get your disagreements, your questions on live. We definitely want to answer your questions. We want to know what you, the fans, want to know more about. Because, honestly, this show's not about me. It's about you, the viewer. The last thing I want to take a look at is my thoughts on the Olympics. We have a little over a minute, or a little under a minute and a half, so I'm going to try going over this a little quickly. We may go a little over this week, and I'll give you your time back next week. But my thoughts of the Olympics, first off, don't they have it backwards? Thursday, I believe February 6th, they showed the Olympics. Friday night, last night, the 7th, was the opening ceremonies to begin what has already begun. That sentence I said right. Yes, the Olympics had began what has already begun. I hear a popular Taylor Swift song playing in the background, Begin Again. With this being said, the network has a lot to do with what is being played and how, despite what you hear, NBC has most, if not all, to say. Let me ask you this. Do you believe the opening ceremonies are live? Guess what? You're wrong if you guessed yes. They are pre-recorded and aired at prime time for ratings purposes. Little math for you math nerds out there. Prime time plus positive ratings equals more money in advertising for the networks and their sponsors. Okay, if you're not a math nerd, I'll go over that for you one more time. Prime time plus positive ratings equals more money for the network and their sponsors. So with that being said, be careful what you believe. When the Olympics are on and they say live, look for a disclaimer. In the media, if something is not live, we're supposed to put something on there that says the show was not recorded live. Or, this is the best of. On radio, a lot of times, if you're listening to a pre-recorded show, you're listening to that show and you'll hear, this is the best of the Brent Clinton show, or this is the best of the Vince Rowe radio show, or this is the best of the Bobby Bones show. And since we're in Oklahoma, I'll do one better. This is the best of the Buff show. So, we're supposed to have those disclaimers. On television, they're supposed to have them somewhere on the bottom, albeit a lot of times it's in fine print and, it's so small that you can't see it. But legally, they're supposed to tell you if it's not live. They can't tell you it's live and it not be live. So with that being said, we'll look more at the teams next year and dissect the teams more next week. So stay tuned. Now, for my last little rant, I'm going to do this hopefully in about a minute. I was on MSN earlier today and came across something on Yahoo Sports. Now, I'm going to knock Yahoo Sports, and Yahoo Sports can do whatever they want. This is the Jimmy the K Jimmy the K Sports Show. And with that being said, Yahoo Sports needs to get out of the flippin' doggone political business. I saw an article and it said under Yahoo Sports, a lady lighting the torch, and I don't know if it was a Russian or if it was from another country, but frequently I don't care, sent a racist letter to the American president, Barack Obama. First off, Yahoo Sports, the name. What does Yahoo Sports say? I've got a viewer out there. If you're listening or watching, what does Yahoo Sports say? What's in the name? Does it say sports? Yes, it does. At what point do we start putting our doggone political views in something that says sports? I could care less about who sent a racist letter to the President of the United States. Granted, it be wrong. I'm not saying it's right for this person to do it. What I'm saying is that Yahoo Sports is getting into the political business. This is not a political type thing. The Olympics is about America and about what people want. People don't want, when they come to a sports show that says Yahoo Sports, ESPN, the Jimmy the K Sports Show, they don't want to see that we are putting our political views into a show. You know, the Olympics are about America and about what America stands for. That's all I'll say. But Yahoo Sports, please, please, I am begging you, when you have the name sports in your title, keep it sports related. Don't draw your political agenda because you're somewhere where you don't need to be, whether it be, you know, on the political side of the fence because your general manager is telling you in your ear that you have to do this. Sometimes we need to stand up as people and tell them, no, we're not going to do it. No, we're not. This is a sports show. This is a sports article. This is a sports website. We're not going to put our political views in there. We don't care that a person sent a racist letter to the President of the United States. Now, at no point in that statement did I say it was right for that person to do it. But as a sports show, as a sports article, as a sports radio show, as a sports magazine or internet site, we don't put our political views into our shows. With that being said, this show, the Jimmy the K the Sports Show, thanks you for viewing. I want to thank you, the fan. I want to thank you for sending questions to our Facebook page, messaging me through our email, allaboutsportszone, one word, @gmail.com. You, the fans, are going to be what makes this great and a success. And I thank you. Last off, and the final thing I'm going to say, at no point are we as a sports show going to put our political agenda into the show. At that point, I want you, to the viewer, if you ever hear something that you feel is political on this show, to email me, message me on Facebook, and say, hey, you know, you're a sports show. You said you were a sports show. Let's keep politics out of this. Because this show is about you, the fans. We're not the ESPN. We're not Yahoo Sports. We're 100% sports. That's the only thing you're going to get on this. Granted, I had that little rant, but that was because it was sports related and I needed to say it. With that being said, I thank you for tuning in this week to the Jimmy the K Sports Show. I look forward to seeing you each and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time here at U Street. Thank you and good night.